Hey, so this is what is this? February 22nd.
Yeah, okay. Washington's birthday.
2009.
And what I want to do is, Barbara, is let you know some of your background, both on my side and your on my father's side.
Right.
My mother's name was Barbara Ann. Okay. Now, her mother was a mail order bride that came from Yugoslavia when she was 14. Matt Dobranek ordered her. Her name was Catherine Dobranek, and Dobranek is like Smith. They weren't related. They were married when she was 14. At 15, Barbara Ann, my mom, was born. A year later, Carolyn, my Aunt Carolyn, was born. And then Matt Dobranek took off for the Northwest to be a lumberjack or something so he could send more money home to Catherine. But it's the last time anybody ever saw him. Don't know whatever happened to him. So Catherine, my grandma, had 2 young children and didn't know what to do, so where does she go? She works in a local saloon. From then on, she is a barmaid, like, you know. Then she has Madge, Catherine, Johnny, and Mary. 4 more children. And she has them all by the time she's about 22 or 23. The fathers of all of them are kind of questionable. But there was a man living with her, Sibinik. It was like well, anyway, so we're pretty sure Madge, Catherine, Johnny were Sibiniks. Then Mary came along, and she looked so Spanish and Puerto Rican or whatever it is, dark and beautiful, that's why I wrote questionable who Mary's father was anyway. Then finally she stopped having kids. And my mother was the oldest of 6. Now we'll go to my father. His father's name was Frank Bostancic. That would have been my grandfather. He came from Yugoslavia also, a different region. He came from Slovenia, where the Dobraneks, my mother's side, came from Croatia. So here comes Frank Bostancic. He marries, I don't know the name of the woman, and he comes to this country to work in factories. They have their first child, Mary, and that was your Aunt Mary in Cleveland. And then Mary's mother died. And he wanted a wife from Yugoslavia. So he and baby Mary go back to Yugoslavia to find a bride. And he looks around and he picks Francis Grdolnik. So the rest of his children and the rest of his marriage was with Francis. But he decided he didn't want Mary anymore, so he left her with relatives back in Yugoslavia to start a new life with a new wife. So Mary has been abandoned. So he comes to Ohio, along the Ohio River, and starts a farm, and he starts in coal mining. His first child is Frances, who we called Finn for some reason. So she was always known to me as Teta Finn. Teta in Yugoslavian means aunt. So Teta Finn is the oldest. Then comes Gail Bostancic. Then June Bostancic, then Ann Bostancic. Then he finally starts having boys. Frank, my dad, Ludwig, his brother who's a year younger, and Edward, who came along late in life as a surprise. That was Uncle Eddie. Uncle Eddie.
I know Eddie, Gail, June, and Ann real well.
Okay, good. Now, Francis Grdolnik had a tough life. My grandfather, Frank Bostancic, was a tyrant. And I have here written suicide. When she was in her early 60s, she committed suicide.
Grandpa's mother.
My father's mother. And the rest of them died of heart disease. So that really runs in our family. Now when we jump back up to my mother's family, who are in like the Buffalo, New York area, depression and illness runs in this family too. And her sister Catherine was in a mental institution for a long time, released, worked, and she also committed suicide.
Okay.
Yeah. And their heart disease. So that's the thing I just want you to look out for.